Tony, and we'll get started. Welcome. In case you don't know, by now you are in the Virtual Empowerment Weekend. My name is Lois Margolin, and I will be your facilitator, and we have some important housekeeping items. Unmute yourself unless our presenter requests such or the presentation is over. However, we encourage you to keep your video cam on so Tony can feel the love and recognize how much we think of him. At the end of the session, I will paste an evaluation form. I believe I'm doing that. We'll paste an evaluation form in the chat window. But because DTM Longley is so incredibly special, we have a special introduction for him. So please welcome our Program Quality Director, Ivan Thompson, Distinguished Toastmaster Ivan Thompson, to introduce our next presenter.
Thank you so much, Madam Session Chair, Distinguished Toastmaster Louis Margolin. When Anthony J. Longley, Distinguished Toastmaster, joined Toastmasters, his purpose initially was to learn to manage a speech impediment. Over the past 33 years, his Toastmasters experience has built his self-confidence and self-esteem. On his leadership journey, he advanced from Club Sergeant at Arms to Club President in 1997-1998, and later from District Sergeant at Arms to District Governor in 2014-2015. Along that path, he earned the Distinguished Toastmaster designation 3 times. In 2016, Longley was awarded the coveted presidential citation by past international president, Distinguished Toastmaster Jim Kokochi. Currently, he sits on the board of directors of Toastmasters International as our International Director for Region 8, 2018 through 2020. A prominent figure in the life insurance industry, Longley has been a leading sales producer in the Bahamas for more than 30 years. He holds the Insurance and Financial Advisor designation, and he is a certified sales trainer. He is an executive financial sales representative with Colleen Insurance Limited in Nassau, Bahamas, formerly holding positions such as sales manager, branch manager, and company sales trainer. He credits his career success to the communication and leadership training acquired in the Toastmasters program. Longley has earned numerous local, regional, and international sales awards. He is a life member of the MDRT, the $1 Million Round Table, which is located in Park Ridge, Illinois. He attests to drawing heavily from his Toastmasters leadership training while serving as the Caribbean Zone Chair and later as Divisional Vice President of the $1 Million Round Table. Distinguished Toastmaster Longley is an accomplished photographer. I can attest. He's shot me many times. And he's also an international marathon runner. Perhaps this is why he is affectionately called Tony the Tiger. Distinguished Toastmaster Longley is married to Jackie, and they are the proud parents of 2 daughters, Antonia and Alyssa. Fellow Toastmasters, please put your virtual hands together and welcome with me to this virtual lectern, our International Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Anthony J. Tony the Tiger Longley.
Well, good afternoon, District 47. And thank you so much, Dynamic Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Ivan Thompson, for that warm introduction. I first of all wish to bring you greetings on behalf of my fellow board members who, upon hearing of this great event this weekend, they send their kudos to you for pulling off such a wonderful idea, and also to the dynamic team of supporters at World Headquarters. If I were to conduct a survey here this afternoon on the question, how did you join Toastmasters? Imagine the commonality of your responses I would imagine, would go somewhat like this. I was invited to join a Toastmasters Club program, or I was invited to attend a Toastmasters program. And after I attended, I liked what I saw, I had a great time, and I joined. Most people that I ask that question to, that's kind of the response that I get. Well, let me tell you how I became a member of Toastmasters. I was not invited to attend a Toastmasters meeting. I was commanded to attend a Toastmasters meeting. I wonder if I have any company out there with that. But having just switched jobs, my new boss was a senior Toastmaster. And one morning during a mentoring session, he said to me, if you want to have a successful career in the insurance industry, you must improve your communication skills. Thursday, 8 p.m., here's the address, you be there. Is that a command or what? Well, I showed up. I liked what I saw. It was dynamic. I did not join, but I returned. And on my second visit, the division governor was there. He was on what they call an official visit. And he was pitching the sale of the upcoming District 47 Spring Conference to be held in South Florida, Plantation, Florida, to be exact. And so they sent around a sign-up sheet. I was in the guest gallery. Somehow the sign-up sheet landed in my lap. I filled it out. I put my name down, put my phone number down, and they called me. Before I knew what happened, I was on the airplane with about 100-something other Toastmasters from the Bahamas, headed to South Florida. Well, you can imagine the awe on my face when I saw the multitude of some 500 Toastmasters in full regalia inside the ballroom of that hotel. Man, I've never seen anything like it. Well, what do you think happened immediately upon my return to the Bahamas from that phenomenal experience? You got it. I joined Toastmasters. My membership certificate is dated June the 1st, 1987. That's right. I'm celebrating an anniversary. That's what? 33 years as a Toastmaster. 1987 to 2020. Cheers to all of you who are celebrating an anniversary this month. This evening in my address, I will say a bit more about that dash. You know that dash between the 1987 and the 2020? You'll hear more about that this evening, so be here. I'm often asked the question, what is it that has held your interest in Toastmasters for such a long time? My answer is usually something like this. I'm still learning, and I get a thrill from mentoring others and watching them bloom into a super Toastmaster and a better person. And that's essentially what drives my commitment at this point in time. Who joins Toastmasters to become a club president? Whoever thinks of joining because they want to be an area director or division director, district director, whoever at the point of joining thinks that they will become an international director or, like distinguished Toastmaster Matthew Kinsey, a second vice president. No. We don't even know where those things are when we first join. One responsibility of Toastmasters International's board of directors, of which I'm privileged to be a member, is to develop a strategic plan for the organization. This is generally revisited every 5 years. We are currently working within the parameters of the 2015 strategic plan. The first elements of the plan is what is referred to as the envisioned future. And it says thus: to be the first choice provider of dynamic, high value, experiential communication and leadership development. Isn't that powerful? There are three more pillars of this 2015 strategic plan. Can any one of you name them? Give you time to think. Okay, so here they are. 1, club excellence. 2, member achievement. And last one is 3-dimensional: awareness, engagement, and participation. And for the purpose of this exercise this afternoon, I'll be focusing primarily on club excellence. How can we, what makes a good club? How can we make our club better? And whose responsibility is it to make the club dynamic? Is it the responsibility of just the president or the team of officers? Whose job is it? Is it the division director or the area director's job to make your club dynamic? Well, let's explore this a bit. To achieve club excellence, clubs must make it their goal to deliver on the Toastmasters brand promise. What is this brand promise? You can go ahead and type it if you know it. We have people watching for your answers. And here it is: empowering individuals through personal and professional development. And that's what we are supposed to be doing in our Toastmasters clubs. Yes, that's the responsibility of your Toastmasters club. Yes, that's the responsibility of your officers, but you have some responsibility as well as a member. Clubs must create and promote the intrinsic value of its members, for its members. We need to model our clubs to produce the kind of meetings we want to benefit our members. This will boost attendance and it'll drive commitment. Now, what about you, the member? Do you have a responsibility? What is your responsibility? Of course you do. Do you remember that pledge that you took when you joined Toastmasters? Most clubs do this formality. Can you remember it? Most of us cannot. The Toastmasters Promise is what it's called. Let's take a look at that now. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters educational program. I promise to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments. I promise to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluation, not to bury them and to make them feel so small and belittled that they don't return to the meeting. I promise to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow. Operative words: positive, friendly. Now, to serve my club as an officer, that's another promise when called upon to do so. Yes, we have some members who've been in the club for 10, 15 years and never stepped up to try and serve as an officer. And that is your right. But remember, it's a communication and leadership program, training program. So you're robbing yourself of one part of the development, and you're robbing the club of your contribution in that part of the program. I promise to treat my fellow club members and guests with respect and courtesy. Well, if that's a promise, why then do we still have so much conflict in our clubs? I promise to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits of Toastmasters membership. I promise to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters educational recognition programs. and I promise to act within the core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. I call upon all of our members present here today, particularly those of us who have been around for quite some time, to recommit to this promise. And to deliver on its promise, a club needs an average of 20 members in attendance. Not 20 members on roster, mind you, 20 members in attendance. Why? Well, we know that attendance will fall off by 30 to 35% in the first 6 months. Therefore, if we charter with 35 clubs, well, in 5 to 6 months, it's safe to say we'll average 20 to 22 in attendance per meeting. But if each of you, as an individual member, make an 85% commitment to fulfilling your commitment and your Toastmasters promise, the value you will gain from the program will be exponential. As a result of your dedication and consistency, your club will maintain a vibrant, supportive, and positive learning environment. So you see, fellow Toastmasters, it's a partnership between you as a member and the leaders of your club, and also the fellow members of your club. Now, what does this 85% commitment look like? How do we measure this, you may ask? Well, let us take a look at what that translates to for you. If you're going to commit yourself to just 85%, notice I didn't even say 100%, but if you're going to commit to 85%, it means, first of all, to remain in good standing by meeting your financial obligations. Stay up to date, be current. It means showing up when you are assigned to perform on the program. Darren LaCroix, you've heard him, he always says, stage time, stage time, stage time. What does that mean? That means the old adage, like the old adage says, practice makes perfect. And so you then must continue to seek every opportunity to get some stage time. Show up when not on the program as well. Many members stay away from the club a lot when they're not scheduled. They only show up when the VPE calls them to say you're scheduled. Well, guess what? We learn by doing ourselves. That's the stage time. But we also learn by observing others as they do what they do. We learn by listening to the feedback, the evaluation given to others. So all of that helps us to grow. So if we stay away, we rob ourselves again. And we should prepare adequately for all of our assignments. And we should seek out a mentor. Very important to have a mentor. Even a mentor needs a mentor. Because I seek guidance on how I can better mentor others from those who may be more experienced in it than I am. We should attend TLI sessions and conferences and any other personal development programs that a hardworking district team would put on for us. We should read a lot too, a lot of material. I saw throw that in there. And we should serve as a club officer, or I like to call it a member of the club's executive board, because that's the basic training ground. That's where you get the fundamentals of boardroom protocol, right here in a Toastmasters club. Now, that's all you need to do, a mere 85% commitment, not even 100%, as I said. Do this, and I promise that within 24 months, you will experience an upward mobility in your personal life as well as in your career. From the Toastmasters Club mission, 3 things must be realized. 1, the environment must provide a supportive and positive learning experience. 2, members must be empowered to develop communication and leadership skills. And 3, the result must be greater self-confidence and personal growth. if we're not realizing those things, we are missing out on the club mission. Members, I want you to know that your club leaders are there to chart the course for your club. But without your commitment and involvement, the ship is bound to run aground. You play an important role in driving the quality of your club meetings and ultimately the strength and stability of your club. The next thought I want to leave with you this afternoon is about your conduct as a member of a Toastmasters club or as a club or district leader. Now, we have all sat in clubs or moved around the Toastmasters constituencies, and we have seen breaches of these core values. We have seen infractions that go against these 4 core values. For me personally, these 4 core values have been very easy to subscribe to. Why? Because they align very closely with the core values that have been instilled in me at home as a youngster growing up by my mother and my father and my elders. It's the same thing. They use different words, perhaps, or phrases, but it all squares right back to this. And so I encourage every Toastmaster to internalize this. We should be able to remember this. If you just look at those first 4 letters, I don't know if it's a real word, but it can be pronounced ERS. If you can remember ERS, you can remember integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Some people twist them around and make it RISE, rise. But on the Toastmasters home front, we would prefer that you use it in the order in which it is designed. And so I call upon you to deal with each other with integrity, deal with your Toastmasters affairs with integrity. If you're a club officer, take that into your personal and professional life. Deal with each other with respect. Respect each other's difference of opinion, and we can beg to differ or agree to disagree. And commit to service, not just in Toastmasters. That doesn't necessarily mean being a club officer, but for a club to run effectively, there are so many other roles that you can play that may be unofficial, but necessary. And so think of how you can assist an officer, perhaps. Maybe the secretary is going on vacation. You can fill in as an assistant secretary. There's so much you can do. And I won't talk about at a district level where we need at least, in addition to the elected officers, we easily need another 150 persons, volunteers, to make the district run effectively. And so someone says, like the song, I Rise. Thank you, Laura, right? And so you see, fellow Toastmasters, when it gets to excellence now, when it gets to excellence, the thing about it is, I think excellence is aptly placed in that, on that list. Because if you do not, in my opinion, if you cannot or do not possess integrity, if you cannot show respect for others and for rules and guidelines and laws and policies and procedure, if you cannot deliver service with passion and commitment, then how would you ever achieve excellence? It just can't happen. It won't happen. And so I'm leaving you with these basic fundamentals today, these basic concepts that you could easily remember. I didn't come to load you down today because I could present a 2-hour session, but I just want you to have enough to go about and to close out this year strong and to open up the year with fervor and with energy and with passion as we look to the next couple of weeks just down the road. And so these 4 core values set the platform for how we are to conduct ourselves within Toastmasters circles, and by extension, in the wider community. This lapel pin, right here, this lapel pin, well, that we should wear, that we should always wear. And that represents a powerful brand. And every member is an ambassador for this organization. And this lapel pin is the best public relations tool for your club. I wear this pin whenever I wear a jacket. I tell Toastmasters if they see me at work, at a wedding, at a banquet, at a funeral, if they see me anywhere and I'm dressed in a suit and I'm not wearing my Toastmasters pin, I challenge them that they can fine me. They can levy a fine upon me of $5. And if I'm wearing the pin, I can fine them. Oh man, I'll be rich, right? And so always wear your pin. It's a conversational piece. People will come up and they'll ask you what it's about, and you get to pitch your elevator sales talk. Let me tell you a quick little story. About almost 30 years ago, about 25 plus years ago, on one of my journeys coming from the West Coast of Florida, of United States, I boarded my airplane and approached my seat and proceeded to reach above to put my luggage in the overhead compartment. And I saw a lady already seated in the row that I would be going in. And she was just staring at me. And I began to feel a little uncomfortable here until I sat down, and she turned to me and said, I couldn't help but notice your Toastmasters pin. And I said, oh, you're familiar with it? Well, it was like a 5-hour flight coming from LA. And the whole conversation was about Toastmasters. And she took up about 90% of that because she was trying to sell me on the idea of moving the Bahamas into District 81, which is the Caribbean district that they were just forming at that point, or had just formed. And they were trying to get the Bahamas to be a part of District 81. And all of that came from a Toastmasters pin on my lapel. That lady, who is also she's a past international director, and her name is Distinguished Toastmaster Eileen Wolf, very powerful and well-respected lady in Toastmasters international circles. From that little conversation some 27 years ago on the airplane, we've been best friends ever since. She's one of my mentors today in my current role as an ID. And I share that just to say that the power of the pin, you just never know. So wear your Toastmasters pin, promote your club, promote the brand, promote your organization. And the final point I'd like to share with you, if you're going to make your club better, is this. There can be no club expansion or club growth or membership growth without guests. I began by asking you, how did you join, and telling you how I joined. And I'll close on that note. If we're not inviting guests, we're not replenishing. We must replenish. Imagine that you go into your backyard garden, and everyone is gardening now that we're on lockdown. You go into your backyard garden, you reap your cabbage that you had been watching as they grew and become swollen, and you couldn't count. It was taking too long for you to reap them, and now you got them. Well, if you don't put down more seeds, what's going to happen? You have nothing to look forward to when the next rain comes. And so we must constantly replenish, and it is incumbent upon every member to invite your friends and your family and your colleagues out to your Toastmasters program. It's very easy. And here's the trick to it. When you extend your invitation, do not say, I'd like to invite you to a Toastmasters meeting. Say, I'd like to invite you to a Toastmasters program. it goes over a little better because after being at work all day, people don't want to come to a meeting, but they don't mind coming to a program. Let them know that it's fun, that we learn in a spirit and an atmosphere of fun and excitement, because that was Dr. Rouse Medley's dream, and that was his mandate. And so if we only invite guests out, we'll replenish, our clubs will grow, we'll have a dynamic environment for all to flourish and to learn. And it'll go up to our district, and we will again return to our former glories of being always in the top 3 districts in the world. We can do it. And I have a strong feeling that this coming year will be the year that we do that. I wish to congratulate the outgoing executive team for a dynamic job, the entire district director, Burroughs, and the entire team, as well as the incoming newly elected team and appointed ones as well. Congratulations. I look forward to supporting you and to hearing great things from you. At this time, I would entertain questions from anyone who may have a question, remark, comments, as the case may be.
Anthony Longley, this is Laura Larrabee. I do have a question for you.
Hello, Laura.
I would love, would you please put up or repeat again the 5-year mission vision that is being used for 2015?
Yeah, they will get that up for you. I'm sure they'll flip back to that.
Getting it
I'd like
right
to
now.
share it with my club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about every 5 years or so, Toastmasters International, the board of directors, we revisit the strategic plan, because that's the real job of the board of directors, to chart the course of the organization and to handle all the fiscal management and strategic planning for the organization. And particularly it's the financial affairs and the legal affairs to safeguard all of that. And so the strategic plan designed in 2015 had a focus, as I mentioned, on club excellence, member achievement, and awareness, engagement, and participation. You had a second part to your question on that? Something you wanted me to expound on?
No, that was, I wanted to take a picture of it. Can we share it with our clubs?
Oh, sure, of course.
Thank you.
Yes, and you would find that in many Toastmasters material, such as the district leadership handbook, the club leader handbook. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere, it's all in there as well. It's on the website. All right. And so, as you can see, the envisioned future, I'll repeat that, to be the first choice provider of dynamic, high value, experiential communication and leadership skills development. There is no other organization in the world that can truly make that promise, because no one else has been delivering on it like Toastmasters.
Sir, we have something from Shannon Dean, who said, we are all Toastmaster brand ambassadors. Would you like to expand upon that a little bit?
Absolutely, absolutely. As I alluded to earlier, Shannon Dean, thank you for the question. Each individual, well, let me rephrase. Our organization invests a lot in its branding. And this is why we are so careful to ensure that you, the members, you, the club leaders, you, the district leaders, are protecting the brand and using the brand assets correctly. There's a lot of abuse of the brand assets going on throughout the Toastmasters network. I see them all the time. Flyers going out, the logo incorrectly placed, twisted, warped, squashed, right? Things written over it, things placed over it, logo placed over things, all right? All of that is against the brand guidelines. But each of us as an individual, we are Toastmasters, and that stands for something. When we walk into a room, our presence should be felt because we are different. We carry ourselves a certain way. We communicate in a certain way. We exude confidence. And we infect others, not with something devastating like COVID-19, but we infect others with something positive like confidence, self-worth, and help them to boost their own self-esteem. And so we are the ambassadors of this organization in those respects.
Thank you, sir. We had a fabulous question from Catherine McManus. What is the best way to empower longtime Toastmasters in your club to become mentors? We have new members who need these mentors.
Yeah, excellent. You know, a lot of people have the capability of mentoring. Everybody has the capability of really mentoring. Some of us may need a little coaching to become a mentor, but if we've been around long enough, we've learned something, and we ought to want to share that. I always tell people, you know, that whenever I pass away in the next 50 years, because I'm gonna be around long like Phyllis May and Diana Lloyd, right? I see her smiling at me. And whenever that happens and they put me down, see, I'm not going to go down fast. I'm going to go down slow because I'm going to be light because I would have already poured everything into somebody else. Okay? But if I'm carrying everything down with me, I'm going to go down like bam, very hard and heavy and fast. No, we don't want that. So let us pour into others and let us dare to die empty. All right? And that is really what we should do. It is a bit selfish to come through this program for 10 years, 15 years, learn a lot. People poured into you and they helped you and they gave you a hand up. And you can't point a finger at one person that you have helped to do the same. Not right.
Okay, well, interesting enough, I have two questions from two different people, but it's the same question. Do you have any tips on how to reattract members who have not renewed their membership?
Yes, definitely. Now, there are varying reasons for that, and some people may have very legitimate reasons, and some may have just lost interest. And then the question is, why did they lose interest? And that takes you back to some of the points I raised earlier. Did they have an experiential time or exposure at that club, or was the club seeped in conflict and mayhem and disorganized situation and never starting on time and canceling meetings at the last minute and those sorts of things? Well, then of course you're going to lose members. They're not going to come back, but you might be able to get them to go to another club. And perhaps what we need to do is to, again, sell the intrinsic value of this program. Use testimonials, use our own personal experience, what it has done in my life. And this evening, you'll hear me talk about what it has done for me personally to a greater extent, because that may just inspire someone who's just starting in this program.
Thank you. And then Kate McClare said, first, she wants to congratulate you and happy anniversary. And then she wants to know, how do we communicate your message to the members who are not here this weekend? Janine, are we going to have this particular message taped so that we can share it?
It's being recorded.
It is being recorded, and all sessions are being recorded and except officer training, and they will be available in a few days.
Okay.
Well, if I might, I guess I'm talking sort of more on an emotional level, not giving them information, but how do we engage members on a personal level with this great message?
Lois, can you restate that for me, please?
Absolutely. Kate was asking, it's not necessarily just saying the words, but how do we connect with them on an emotional level to share what you were saying? And I mean, I think I'm hearing it's more that you have to say the why. Everybody has to tell their why.
Yeah, precisely. And you know, share your why and your wow moments, and also get them to restate their why. Why did they join in the first place? What were they looking for when they came in? Some people forget themselves what they were looking for when they came in. All right. So if you can help them to rethink that, and maybe they need to, they need to rethink that, and you can assist them with formulating a plan of action that would help them to zero in on their own personal goals. Don't try to get someone to do something for your purpose or for your reason, but for their very own reason. And if you can get them to buy in to what it can do for them, what is in it for me, that concept, oftentimes I've gotten many delinquent Toastmasters to come back. And another point on that too is when they disappear, we can't just forget about them until it is time that we need 5 more members, and then we suddenly remember them. How quickly do we respond to that? Do we call them after not seeing that person for 4 meetings or so, 3 or 4 meetings, and say, is everything okay? Is your family all right? Just call, we missed you, we noticed your absence, and we thought we'll check to see if you're okay. As simple as that is, as that sounds, that can very well get somebody to come back.
Thank you.
All right. So Distinguished Toastmaster Dennison Balfour says, how do we help new clubs create quality atmospheres that, although have a unique culture, still reflect the brand quality?
Dennison Balfour, that question is a long one. Repeat that.
How do we help new clubs create a quality atmosphere that have a unique culture but still reflect the brand quality?
Yeah. Now you mentioned the operative part. There was new clubs that I heard. You know, when a club is formed, we appoint mentors, we appoint sponsors. I like to start there. I like to start by ensuring categorically that we are appointing the right individuals to those roles. Because oftentimes mentors and sponsors go into the club and they try to make the club what they want it to be, not what the corporation envisions it being or what the founders of that community club would like it to be. And that is something we have to be very careful of. We are there to support them, to undergird them, to make sure that they have the resources and they know where to find the resources. We're there to give them ideas and tips and to let them bounce their thoughts and ideas off us, and we can help them to fine tune them and to package them and to actually activate them. But we're not there to make their club like my home club or anything of that sort. So be there to support them, listen to them, hear what they truly want to achieve. And if you are not in position yourself to take them there, then you go and find the necessary human resources to come in and help them with that.
Okay. We have from Beshan Jules, any tips on getting very shy members to speak or present at meetings? So many times they would cancel at the last minute.
She's talking about me. She's talking about Tony, the new Toastmaster of 33 years ago. Okay, but I can't tell that story now because that story will be told this evening. All right, but yes, that happens. You know, as they say, people are more afraid of public speaking than of dying in many instances. And so that means that when you go to a memorial service, the person who is doing the eulogy is actually worse off than the person in the casket. Okay? and so that's how fearful people are of public speaking. So that's okay. All we need to do is reach out to that member and reassure them that we are here to support them. Remember, supportive environment. We're here to support them. Okay? This is the laboratory of communication and leadership training. This is where you come to make mistakes. And so you come here and you make the mistakes, and we give you this positive, this evaluation, this feedback, and the support to help you go from week to week, making fewer and fewer mistakes or not making the same mistakes. And eventually you will see that your wings are flapping on their own and you are flying high as a Toastmaster.
Wow. I know we're getting down on our time, but this is a fabulous question from distinguished Toastmaster Kathy Dyke. If a Toastmaster is suffering from the burnout syndrome, do we leave them alone for a while and just keep in touch and hope they remember the value they had found before?
Yeah, people do get burned out and for varying reasons, and we have to respect that. You know, sometimes they take on additional responsibilities at work, or they enroll in studies and so forth, and not many individuals can multitask and can manage things like that. You know, I always make reference to one past district director or district governor at the time, good friend of mine, who while being in top leadership from the club level straight on up to the district governor role, was studying and did a master's degree and did professional certifications and, you know, and battled illnesses and all of those things, and still performed admirably, still kept her hand on the steering wheel and did the job and got it done. And so people are different. Some are more resilient than others. So if they need to step back, sometimes we may have to recommend that they step back. I think of a young member right now who pretty much may be on this call, on this thing, and then she won't mind me saying it because it's a positive thing. Toastmaster Rosina Duncanson, who was, I think, recently in one of the competitions. A few years ago, as a member of one of my clubs, she said, hey, I have to step back. I'm studying. I got a promotion at work. Things are happening. I can't do it all. I have to step back. And she stepped back. And she was gone for about 3 years or so. And one day I saw her and say, look, man, time to come back now. If you stay any longer, we may lose you. And she came back maybe 6 months later or so. And now she's a very dynamic Toastmaster because she's come back in her time, not in our time. So let's just support them and hold their hands and continue to reach out to them, encourage them, and let them know that we love them and we are thinking about them. They'll come back.
Thank you so much, sir. It is within 1 minute. Do you have any closing comments you would like to make?
Yeah, I would like to say this. Many of you have not met. There are lots of new members on this call, first timers to a conference. I would have loved to meet you as a first timer in person. And I want to welcome you, first timers. You are the new seeds that are being planted in our district. And we are going to ensure that the seeds germinate and that you rise to be a great Toastmaster, that you get what you came into this program for, and that you make a contribution in later years. We'll be hearing from some of you. I know that in this conference, those of you who are less than 2 years on this program, there are some district leaders among you. There is a district director among you. There is an international director somewhere among you. District 47 is known for producing international leaders. Just in the last few years since our last split, we've had Christina Kilberg as an international director. We've had Matthew Kinsey as an international director, now a second vice president. And now I'm here. And I'm only here because of you and what you have done to support me and to teach me, train me, and to pour into me. And I thank you so much for the opportunity to serve you and to be one of you. I'm so proud of that.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Longley. It is us who thank you for this fabulous presentation. We are literally at 2:51, and as you know, that means the clock is ticking and we are getting ready to go to our next presentation. But before we do that, let us give some amazing love to Distinguished Toastmaster Longley. Give me some thumbs up, give me some claps, give me some hands, whatever it is. Fabulous,
Hey,
fabulous.
Paul. Hey, Ann. Oh, I can see all my friends over there.
47 love chat.
Jana. I
Okay.
see Richard Oppen. Oh, wow.
In the
Many of you.
chat,
Kathy
you will
Dyke is
see-
right there. I see Phyllis May. Oh, there's Phyllis May. Phyllis
Real
May is my
quick.
Toastmaster's wife, you know.
Ah,
Did you know
okay,
that,
well, I
Lois?
have put the evaluation form in the chat box. Please take a look at it and make sure that you go and tell Tony how awesome he is. So capture it now before all those, you did a great job, moves it up to the top of the line. Thank you again, sir. We appreciate you. Virtual hugs.
Thank you. Have a productive day, everyone. Thank you.
Remember, if you are going to an officer training, you have another link that you must find in your mailbox. If you do not have it in your regular email, check your junk email. It might be there. And I will see you back here at 4 p.m. when, oh my gosh, it's me, Command Your Virtual Performance. See you then.